Today on Tanaka Homestead, I want to talk to you about how to use bone meal and blood meal in your garden. Let's first talk about blood meal. There are many companies that manufacture blood meal, and quite frankly, I don't see a difference between any of them. Instructions for use are the same, benefits are the same. I mean, blood meal, in my opinion, is blood meal. But what is it? Blood meal is actually made from cow blood, and it's sourced from meat packing plants. There are some companies that even use hog or chicken blood, but it is blood. Why would you ever use this in your garden? Well, I'll tell you, if you're going for organic, this is the way to go if you need to add nutrients to the soil. The other thing is, it's an excellent source of nitrogen. Okay, so you get slow release nitrogen from blood meal. It's going to help to make the soil more acidic. It's an excellent pest deterrent. Pests do not like the smell of blood meal because it smells like blood, and they know that means danger. And if you're going for organic gardening, this is the way to go. People use blood meal in their garden in different ways. I do not usually add blood meal after the fact. I usually amend the soil before I put any transplants there or add any seeds. That's how I do it. But some people don't. They add the blood meal after they've had transplants. They'll mix it into the top layer of soil, or people will even mix this with water and spray it. I don't usually do that. I find it easier just to deal with it before I put any seeds or transplants in the ground. But everybody's different, and sometimes things come up. You notice that there's a nitrogen deficiency. You have to get the nitrogen in there somehow. So do what works for you. You do have to be careful with blood meal, though. I will tell you, if you add too much blood meal, you will 100% burn your plants. And I have done this. I had beautiful, beautiful strawberry plants, and I thought it'd be cool to add a whole bunch of nitrogen in my earlier days. Dumbest decision ever, because I destroyed, and I mean destroyed, my plants. They looked terrible. They turned brown, shriveled up. They were clearly burned. So less is more. Make sure if you do add this and you add it after the fact, that you're very careful with application. When do I use this though? You have to know what you're planting. So there are heavy nitrogen feeders out there. So asparagus, corn's a big one. It requires a lot of nitrogen to grow big. Eggplant, okra, peppers, I mean, you name it. There are heavy feeders. So if I know I'm going to plant corn in a specific spot, I am going to amend the soil with my blood meal first, because I want to make sure there's enough nitrogen in there. The other thing is, after I am done with my corn and the season's over and I'm going to plant something else, I 9 times out of 10 will apply blood meal, because chances are the corn sucked all the nitrogen out. So that's how I will incorporate blood meal into my garden. Remember though, don't add blood meal or nitrogen to legumes. Legumes are nitrogen fixers, so they don't need any more nitrogen because they make it. What's kind of nice though is if you know that you have a season, you plant all your legumes, the following season you can plant other crops in that same area. It's all about crop rotation, right? That like nitrogen, because the legumes have kind of done the work for you and they've put that nitrogen back in the soil. It's kind of a neat tidbit. Same thing holds true with my bone meal. A whole bunch of companies make it, and I've never really found any difference as far as use and application as well as benefits. So to me, it does not matter which company you purchase your bone meal from. Bone meal is composed of 2 very important nutrients that your soil and plants need. The first one is calcium. Calcium, just as you know, for us, helps to make our bones strong, helps to keep cell walls strong and healthy. Now, phosphorus, on the other hand, plays a huge role in root development. You want nice, strong roots for nice, large plants. Photosynthesis, flower production, seed production, energy transfer. I mean, phosphorus plays a vital role in the health of your plant. So if your soil is lacking in calcium or phosphorus, or you know that you are going to be planting some vegetables that require more than normal calcium or phosphorus, go ahead and use bone meal in your soil. What are some plants that need a lot of phosphorus? Some plants that you may want to consider amending the soil with this before planting. First would be onions. I do this every year and I get huge onions, huge. So I always supplement my soil with bone meal before I plant my onions. The other thing would be garlic, carrots, any type of root vegetable really thrives on bone meal. So don't forget to add this. I want to give you a quick example of how bone meal actually saved the day. I planted my okra seeds in an area where I had a lot of legumes planted previously, and for whatever reason, I guess there was just too much nitrogen. If you have too much nitrogen in the soil, you can expect a lot of foliage. Well, I noticed that my okra plants were just growing. I mean, they were growing like crazy. I mean, they were getting big, getting full, but there were no flowers. And I was kind of getting full of myself, like, man, I'm gonna have a bumper crop of okra. This is awesome. No flowers. Well, guess what? If you don't have flowers, you're not getting okra. So I realized, yeah, there may be a little too much nitrogen in the soil. So I went ahead and added bone meal to every single one of my okra plants. And I put a healthy amount on each of them. Remember, you don't have to worry about them burning, and it's slow release. I'm not kidding, within 2 or 3 weeks, I started noticing flower after flower after flower. And in the end, because of this bone meal right here, I did end up having an overabundance of okra. So you really do have to watch your plants. It's not a perfect system. For those of you that garden, you know there's a lot of troubleshooting that goes into it. Hopefully this video was helpful. For those of you that do not use blood meal or bone meal in the garden, maybe you will consider it. So thank you so much for watching my channel. If you haven't already, please click that subscribe button, and happy gardening. Bye-bye.